Will there be a Rio+40? I don't think so. The world now faces a very severe financial crisis. And although the left try to say this is a crisis of capitalism, it isn't. It's a crisis of communism. It's a crisis of over-government, over-expensive government, taking away the stuffing out of the private sector. The last 20 years have been the worst 20 years in 600 years for the performance of the London stock market. It's been there for 600 years. The last 20 years have been the worst. Why? Because government is taking so much money out of the system that the private sector can no longer function properly and profitably to the degree that it should. Every business, from the local newspaper stand to the big industries, is damaged by overtaxation and overregulation. And this problem will grow in the short term, unfortunately, because governments have made promises to vested interests, such as pensioners, particularly pensioners employed by the government. And these promises are now falling due to be cashed and paid for. If you like, in terms of the financial markets, the governments of the world have taken on contingent liabilities that are now crystallizing and becoming actual liabilities. The cost is now. And to take the United States on its own, $100 trillion of promises made and not yet paid for, but falling due to be paid for in just the next 10 years alone. And you already have a national debt of $11 trillion. And it's going to be 111, or rather it isn't going to be, because even $11 trillion is not a sustainable national debt. So no, I don't think that the self-indulgence of the governing class, which is manifested in conferences such as the original Rio conference and the Rio+20 conference, can any longer be afforded. And I don't think the people in those countries that have some say in the matter will stand for it. I think they will say, no, we will not pay for this junketing in places where they have lots of sunshine and grass skirts and sangria. They're not going to pay for that anymore. They're going to say, we have a need for the money that we earn and pay in taxes to be used on our own internal domestic purposes, and these international conferences of whatever kind have got to stop. And after all, in the environmental arguments, the idea of jetting around the world and coming to places like this creates an enormous so-called carbon footprint. Now that wouldn't worry me, and it wouldn't worry most of the population nowadays. They've seen that this doesn't matter. But if you do believe that carbon footprints matter, or if you're making money out of pretending that you believe that carbon footprints matter, then you will have to accept that conferences like this ought to be done, and of course with modern technology can be done online, without anyone even walking out of their home, let alone flying halfway around the world to a congenial and exotic, but for the taxpayer, very expensive destination. So the time for these conferences of real people meeting real people all over the world has come to an end, except in one respect. I see no reason why we shouldn't continue to have these conferences, provided that each of the participants pays out of his own pocket and doesn't get paid by any vested interest group or any NGO or any government. He must pay his own fare. Then and only then he can come. Otherwise, stay home and do it online. So there will be no Rio+40, or if there is, it will perhaps be hundreds of thousands of people around the world sitting at their flickering computer screens, which will by that time be holographic, and it'll be as though they are physically present, but in fact they will no longer need to be so. Let us use modern technology to stop all this junketing and save the taxpayer some money, so that once again we can make our states affordable and profitable.